All right, it is Thursday, January 11th. It's about 11:50 a.m. on the West Coast, and I'm done trading for the day. I actually finished earlier, closer to around 10 o'clock, kind of in this area here, and this thing has just been taking back all the losses and getting back almost to the open now. I had three trades today. Pretty interesting day for me. I took my first trade was on my PA account and just took the regular scalp. And then my second trade is on a different chart, which I'll bring up when I get to the second trade in a little bit. And then my third trade, my second trade and my third trade were both on evaluation number 31. And I'll talk about what I've done on that, because on my first trade on the PA, I'm still sticking with just two contracts, just taking the scalp. And when I get my one trade, I try to get my first trade with my PA account, not copy trading. And then once I have that locked in, I move on to evaluations. And that's what I'm doing lately. And that's some of what I want to get into, do things a little bit different today and talk about how my Apex strategy is evolving and what I'm trying to do moving forward as far as managing my Apex accounts. And I have kind of a lot to say about it. So before I get started and get into all of that, the 71% discount is ongoing. I believe it's at least till the end of the month, if not longer. Been hearing different things. You can use this code or any other if you're looking to pick up some accounts. Today is the last day for the 1-day pass on the evaluations. As you can see, I'm not really trying to do that. It's just not important to me right now in this moment. What's important to me right now in this moment is securing a payout on this PA account. And so I'm just going slowly. I'm making sure that the trades I take on it are for what my rules are solid trades, to virtually give me a win every time. And once I get my one win of the day, I move on to my evaluation accounts where I feel no more pressure. And if something happens to those accounts, I don't care nearly as much. But this PA account is my last PA account I have currently of the 5 accounts that I had at once. And so this is my last good hope for a payout anytime soon, which I'm hoping I can get to working through it this way by the February 1st to 5th payout area window. So having said all that, what's going on here? Right. So having said all that, I was 3-0 today. I was 1-0 on my PA account, $102. And on one evaluation account, I actually took 2 trades on it, and I'll get into it in a second. I made $311.12. I actually was trading this account with 4 contracts, which is new for me. And I was doing 3 scalps and 1 runner. And I actually picked up a runner on the last trade of the day, my third trade of the day, second trade on this account. So I want to talk about what happened on this evaluation with these trades. But before I do that, I want to get into kind of all the discussions and thoughts I'm having about how I'm proceeding with my my Apex accounts and what the game plan is, because everything I'm doing is evolving as I go here, and I'm really thinking about strategy. My near-term goal, sorry, I had an interruption there. But my near-term goal, like I said just now, is to get my first payout on this PA account. Haven't gotten any payouts yet on Apex. Been trading it since beginning of April, essentially last year, and I'm more than halfway to that goal. This was the 9th day traded. So I need one more day to qualify for the amount of days I need to request a payout. And then it will be just about getting to the profit target of 52,600. And if I can pull it off, I will take out the maximum and I'll leave myself just whatever small cushion there is. and then that's like number one most important thing on my mind right now, is to make that happen. So my plan right now is I'm trading one trade on the PA account, and when I lock in the profit, taking the first best trade I can see, lock in the profit and move on to the evaluation, so I don't put the trajectory I'm on, don't set myself back, don't give up my gains of the day nor prior days with a loss. Because as we all know, scalping this way, there's no way to scalp where your risk reward is inverted. So when you get a loss, you're getting a loss that's going to cost you multiple previous wins, and it also is going to work against you with the drawdown. So that's what I'm doing right now. And then when I get the win on the PA, my plan, and I diverted from this a little bit today because of the circumstance of what happened, but the plan is to go to the next evaluation, get a trade, win or loss, move on to the next evaluation, get a trade, win or loss, move on to the next evaluation, get a trade, win or loss. And really all I want to do is work up to the point where I can get one trade on each active account I have. And when I get one trade on each active account, I'm done for the day. And I'm going to be working up to that kind of goal of how I proceed with my Apex accounts. Now, you're probably saying, if you've watched any of my videos up to this point, how do you think you're going to do that when you're only getting, maybe one trade a day on average over the course of every video we've seen you do since September when I started YouTube? And it's because the new way I'm trading on the BS system, and that's what we're calling it. This is the BS system, and I like it. I like the BS system. And the reason why is, for example, today, I'm not going to show you my other charts. I just show you this chart here. But on my chart, since the time I started trading today, I could have been 15-1 up to the point where I stopped trading. Literally, if I just took every entry that I saw, regardless if it looked good, regardless of strength of signal bar, regardless of tick size of the risk, all those things, if I just entered every single trade, I would have been 15-1 for the day. And so easily green, like very green, I would have made a lot of money. And because I'm going to start trading max contracts on my 25K accounts, which is 4 contracts on Apex, with 3 scalps and 1 runner, that leaves the door open for runners as well. So now we're talking about being able to not only get 1 win a day, but you can get potentially more than just what you can get on any individual scalping trade. So a 15-1 day would have been extremely profitable for me today if I had just kept cycling through each account, kept taking trades, and just kept going and going and going, and then give myself a cutoff at a certain time of day. And that's what I'm working towards. Today I stopped at about 10 o'clock, a little after 10 o'clock, and that's like the latest I want to trade in my day. I want to trade basically from 6:45, 7 o'clock start, trade till 10, maybe 10:30 latest, and that's it. I don't want to be here until the market closes every day. I want to be able to do other things in my life, and I want to be able to find a way to make profit and succeed at this so that I can do the things I want to do in life, enjoy my family, and get out of the grind. And there's a lot of things I want to be able to accomplish, and I'm going slow. I'm building up, but this is all leading to somewhere. And that's why I'm recording this, because right now, if you just look at the videos up to this point, it doesn't really look like I'm going to get anywhere. I mean, I imagine for anyone, if anyone's out there watching these videos, great, you made 1 trade today and you got $102, like whoopee, big deal. Who cares? Like, why am I watching this? I kind of feel like that sometimes as I'm going, but I know what my bigger picture is. And I know now that I have this system in place and how I'm looking at things, and I'm seeing how consistently I can actually take trades and mathematically have the smallest risk of loss each time I enter a trade, and then spread it out over multiple accounts. So that's what I want to get into right now, is that's the game plan moving forward. And as I can get more evaluations to pass and become PAs and have more PAs at hand, I got to do a shout out to Alpine Trader, and he's really kind of like ring some bells in my mind about this whole process and about what the best way to trade Apex is. And it really is to just look at it, like, forget the numbers in the account. These numbers, I made $102 in the PA today, or I made 311 in evaluations. Whatever those add up to be doesn't matter. You can have 10 PA accounts, right? And you can have 9 of them be winners for $102. You've made $900 basically, right? Across the spectrum of your accounts. But you can have one PA account that you blew up and you lost. And the number might be, let's say you had the full drawdown on a 50K. So now you just blew up $2,500, and, now your $900 profit looks like a red day, right? Because 2,500 minus 900, you lost $1,600 on the day. But you didn't lose $1,600 on the day. You made $900 on your active accounts, and the one you blew up, poof, it's gone. It doesn't matter. The point is to get to payouts. And so if you start, let's say you have 10 PA accounts and you only get 2 of them to pay out, and you take max payout for $4,000, you've profited on the 10 accounts, because 10 accounts don't cost you $4,000. If you add up all the fees for the evaluation and add up the fees to whether you pay the monthly or the lifetime for the PA fee, it's much less than $4,000 on 10 accounts. I mean, it's probably, on average, if you say $200 per account, it's probably, at worst, $2,000. So you lost $2,000 in terms of fees. That's your, that's your expenses to be able to trade this way. But you've profited $2,000 at the end of that payout period. And meanwhile, you still have the 9 accounts, and it might become more. So it's really easy to actually get ahead of the game when you think about it. And it's really just a numbers game, and it's how you play the accounts is what I'm realizing. So to me, the kind of light bulb scenario is, I always thought, well, the best thing to do is to copy trade and, trade 10 accounts at a time, and then you make one trade, and that's $1,000 on the one trade. But with the system that I'm trading now, the fact that I can see how consistently a chart is working from my scalp profit target, I can look at a chart and go, okay, today this chart has not lost in the overnight or all morning. It's been able to work for every entry for 11 ticks. So you trade that chart. That's what I'm doing here. I'm looking, I have a way of saying, without manually looking at each entry, these all worked for 11 ticks. So what's the likelihood of them continuing to work for 11 ticks? It's a really ingenious way of looking at it. And my brother really came up with the kind of like concept of it. And I'm not going to show anybody how we look at the chart and can know without having to go through it manually. But if you go through it manually, you can go through it manually and figure out for your trading strategy whether it consistently works for the profit target you want. And that's one way of doing it. So very smart. We're not here to teach anybody. I'm certainly not, I don't have the longevity or the profitability or the consistency yet for me to be able to say like, hey, I can teach you something and you can do it this way and you make a lot of money. That's not what I'm here saying. I'm saying I'm now onto this thing that me and my brother are working on together, and we're having a lot of conversations, great conversations, and we're realizing that there's something to this, and now we're both testing it out. I'm doing it on YouTube, and he's doing it himself behind the scenes, and I'm bringing things to the game, ideas and concepts of things that I'm seeing that are working, and he's bringing things to me, and we're working together to strengthen how we go about this. And so we just had like all these great conversations today, and so the realization on top of everything I just said, the realization I had today was, kind of yesterday and today, was there's actually no point in trading less than the maximum contracts. If you're going to have multiple accounts, that if you lose one, it's no big deal. You just move on to the next one. And the theory is that the way we're trading here, when you can count on the trades continuing to work, because you haven't seen a trade not work yet on that particular day on that particular chart, then you just go with it. It's like going to a roulette table and you're seeing that black keeps coming up, and you put $100 on black and it wins. And you go, okay, I'll write it. And this table's hot. It's saying black. We'll go with it again. Okay, it's black again. Okay, do it again, a third time, black. How many times in a row can you do that before you hit a loss? Well, when you hit a loss, maybe you stop for the day, or maybe you change tables, or maybe you wait a couple times, a couple spins until it's black again. You go, okay, I think it'll be black again after that. There's different ways of looking at it. And there's, it's a little bit, I was joking, it's a little bit of a Russian roulette mentality, because there's a sense that you could just throw out all your rules and just take every trade, and eventually you'll hit a loss, right? But can you get through all your active accounts before a loss comes up and be done for the day? Or can you get through most of your accounts, and then when you get a loss, decide what you're going to do, but you don't trade that account again? But if you're trading max contracts now, essentially one loss all but virtually blows up a 25K account. On a 50K account, there's a way that maybe you don't trade max, or maybe you trade less than max. But the theory is, with this system, maybe the best thing for me to do is just start trading max contracts on my accounts. And I'm not going to do it on my PA account yet, because I only have one of those. And like I said, it's really important to me to get the payout, to feel like I've accomplished something, to get the money back in my pocket, to be slightly positive for my Apex experience in terms of profitability. And then once I have more PA accounts, this is the kind of thing I'm thinking I can start doing on those accounts. And like Apex does, or like Alpine does, he cycles through accounts, and it's all about payouts. And it doesn't matter when he loses an account, because once you get one payout, it pays for the account that you lost plus some. And the more you do it, and the more you can go through it, and you lose, if you can get up to 20 PA accounts and you lose 10 of them, but you get payouts on 10 of them, you're way ahead of the game, right? So that's the concept. And then at that point, hopefully things can snowball and you can start progressing from there. So that's my big picture kind of thoughts for the day. I think I've basically covered the big things. So that's what I'm trying to do. Now the hard part for me is I've been trading max system PATs on ES for almost 3 full years, not being able to get profitable, being break even at best for long periods of time, maybe profitable for short periods of time, and then just lose it all back, lose any profit I had, lose my my break-even status, and then end up losing money, blowing up an account, or whatever the case may be. So that hasn't worked for me. And, I'm pretty deep in, but I can't unlearn all the rules that I have in my head. So there are setups that I see that work on my BS system, and I just can't bring myself to enter the trade. It's kind of like jumping off the cliff and knowing you have a parachute and just trusting that parachute is going to catch you 9 out of 10 times. But, what happens on the 10th time where it doesn't catch you, you have a hole in it and you fall to the ground and die. Well, luckily, this isn't life or death trading, but it feels like that in the moment, right? And I can't, it's really difficult to take a trade when you're going against the rules. Like, if you don't have a strong signal bar, why would you enter a trade when you have a bullish, why would you enter a short when you have a bullish bar, but the trade is to go short? Like, how do you enter that knowing all the things I've learned to know over all this time? But to trade this way, it might call for me to start doing that, because more times than not, my profit target scalp is hit regardless of how good the setup looks or not. And you know, you, like I said, if you get to that roulette table and it's hitting black over and over and over again, sometimes you just have to ride that wave. And to me, that's kind of the concept here. So I'm testing it out. I'm kind of seeing how far I can get, like how many accounts am I going to blow up because I just am unlucky. And, you know, my first trade of the day, boom, I get the first loss on that chart of the day. You know, if I switch to a different chart that's looking good, what are the odds I'm going to hit the first loss on that one again before I get wins? You know, and how far can you take these accounts? Because you have to trade 7 days to pass typically for your evaluations, not today because it can do the 1 day pass. But I was considering just going for it and trying to pass one today, but it's just, that's not the prime importance for me at the moment to pass these evaluations quick in 1 day. The prime importance is to build a system where mathematically I can get to where I want to, and I can spread out the risk amongst multiple accounts, and knowing that I'm going to sacrifice some for the benefit of others and get to payouts quicker. And that's really the key to what I'm thinking right now. So I'm still right now picking and choosing the trades I take based on what I believe look like the best trades. And that's why today I only have 3 trades. Although when I show you my second trade, I actually took with the mentality of today, I'm going to just rotate through all my accounts and I'm going to take every trade. I started that way thinking. Luckily, my first trade of the day happened minutes after I started today. And I'm going to show you that right now in just a minute. I'll show you the live recordings of my trades. So this is going to be a longer video, but if this is what I'm talking about is all interesting to you, stick around so you can see the trades. So my first trade looked like a great trade to me. It happened within minutes, like I said, of when I started the day, and it worked beautifully, and you can see that up here. And it was actually the beginning of a big move. Now, I wouldn't have got a runner on that if I was playing runners, but this trade, because it was my PA account, just playing it safe, just taking 2 contracts, not doing, I mean, this is a 50K account, so I'm not doing max contracts by any means. I'm not even doing 4 contracts, which is what I'm going to be doing on my 25K evals, as well as my 50K eval. So no runner, but I got the scalp. Maybe I should show that now here. 1 second. So started the day, there was the CPI news long before I started, and it really had a violent move down, and then we recovered it all. It looked like there was essentially a triple top up here, and easily was looking like maybe there's some kind of range thing potentially going on. I started my day, let's see here. I started my day right around 6:45 or so. That's 6:49. So right around here is when I started, when I got my charts up. So it was mere minutes, and then at 6:56, by the time I had the charts up, figured out which charts I wanted to look at today, which ones looked to be performing well. I was probably about here by the time I was ready to take a trade if it were to come. And then, as you can see, it came right here. And I suppose I can make this even bigger. So you can see, I mean, this move, just this wick, this bar is 48 ticks. And I'm just going for 11 ticks is what my scalp size is on NQ. So just going for 11 ticks, you can see just in the one bar, it went much, much further than that. So I needed very little. The one thing I got to say that I don't love about this trade is that it's trading right into the previous day close, which is this purple line. And the previous day close I use is the West Coast 1 p.m. or the East Coast 4 p.m. close time, not the trading session close. And so I don't love that I'm trading into that on this trade, but what I did like was there was plenty of room for 11 ticks. But what I found is the closing price can act as support and resistance. And I think you can see that here a little bit, and you can certainly see it here. It's acting as support. And so this could have easily been support and blocked my trade. But to me, the trade made sense. It looked good. I had enough room for 11 ticks. It's all I needed. It was also a failed breakout of this little range that was forming here. And so I liked that I had an entry to trade back in with room to the bottom of these candles. So there, I kind of had enough things in my favor. Happened really fast. Let me show it to you, and we'll go from there. All right, so here's the trade. I pretty much already explained it, but I liked that the signal bar wasn't too big. About 47 ticks overall. Maybe I started this a little too here. Let me get closer. Okay, here we go. So this is a little bit closer to the time the setup happens. You can see that little range had already formed, and now we were, my trade is to trade back into the range. So essentially as a failed breakout, we had a very strong move down, and I just believed that that would work pretty easily. And as you can see there, trade happened really fast, as in and out within seconds. And that was a quick and easy trade for me to get the one trade I wanted on my PA account. And from that point on, to me, it felt like kind of a risk-free day. Let me move back here to my other chart now. Okay, so you can see that trade here. Wouldn't have worked for a runner. Runner would have got stopped out at break even +1 if I had had one on there. But then you can see that, a sharp move down continuation, which really, this looked like one leg to me. And so this is why I was thinking, second leg down, and really it goes from here ultimately. But I was thinking from this point, I was looking and thinking for something like that. That would have been a great spot to be considering having a runner on, in my opinion, even though it wouldn't have worked because there's one more pullback. But that was the idea there. So then now let's move on to the second trade, which I'll show you. I had a little glitch, and I want to talk about that real quick. All right, so here's my chart for my second trade, and different size tick chart. And you can see this is the area where I took my first trade. And this is where I got my scalp, and then this was the pullback, and then this is the other move down. Now that I'd already locked in my profit on my PA account, my initial thought for the day was, okay, now I'm going to do the thing that I was just talking about, which is I'm going to just take any trade setup that I see, any entry that comes up, I'm going to take it, thinking that this chart is good. It hasn't lost yet for the day. This is a second chart that hasn't lost yet for the day. And I'm going to go ahead and trust the chart, jump off the cliff with my parachute, and trust that it's going to catch me and give me my 11 tick scalp. Now, what I did different on this trade is two things. One, I did go ahead and trade max contracts on the 25K eval. So I was playing for 4 contracts, and I made it 3 contracts to scalp and 1 contract to be a runner. And now typically this is not a trade I would take. According to my rules, I would never trade directly into the EMA. But the concept and the idea that I was trying to test was, well, the consistency is there. It's a good chart for the day. It hasn't lost yet. It's consistently working for 11 ticks. So I'm going to go ahead and trust it. It's only on an evaluation. So I figured if I screw up the evaluation, I've got 3 other evaluations that are active right now. And so it's not a big deal if I blow it up. So let's go for it and try. And then I was hoping I can just cycle through, do all the accounts today. And since I'm playing the runner, hey, who knows, maybe I'll get lucky, have some great runner and pass an evaluation today, even though I wasn't at 7 days trading on the evaluation yet. That was kind of my initial thought at this point, now that I had already gotten my win and my profit on the PA that I wanted for the day, I kind of felt like, okay, I'm free to go for it today. So I took this trade. I switched it over to the settings so that my ATM strategy had the 3 scalps and 1 runner. And typically I have my settings for break even +1 on the runner. So once I get my scalp, the stop automatically moves to break even +1. And that guarantees me that I can't get a loss on my last remaining contract. But I wanted to toy with the idea of, well, what if I make it break even minus like 3? Because a lot of times you see it get taken out at break even +1 or break even, only to then work for a runner. And, I was thinking maybe if I do break even -3, that'll be enough little wiggle room that, okay, I'm willing to give 3 ticks back from my 3 scalps that I won for the better odds of a runner working. So I did that. And what I also did is, because I trade off of my chart on a sim account and then it copy trades to the account that I set it to copy trade to, I had the setting of my copy trader was set on, it's been set this way for quite some time, where it copies from sim on all my charts, and then it copies to the account that I choose, and then I use the ratio option to choose how many scalps or how many contracts I want to trade on any particular account. So what I've been doing is trading 2 contracts for some time now on these accounts, and so the ratio is set to 2. And my sim account is set to trade 1 contract typically, and so then it multiplies it by 2, and that's how I'm getting the 2 contracts. Like how I traded my PA today, I traded 2 contracts on that in this manner. That the trade copier chooses that it's going to trade double, which is 2 contracts for that account. I forgot to change that when I entered this trade. So now I had my ATM set for 4 contracts to trade, 3 + 1, the runner. But when I entered the trade, the copier saw it as do 2 times those 4 contracts, and it tried to enter me on 8 contracts. So I never even actually looked back at the video on this particular trade or any of my trades today until I'm showing them right now during this video I'm recording. But I got an error message pretty quickly, and I don't even really know what I did. We'll see right now when I play it back in a second. But I'm pretty sure I got an error message when I dropped the order in, and it probably said, hey, you can't do this. Your maximum trades are 4 contracts on a 25K account. And so I don't know if it kicked me out of 4 or kicked me out of 8, or I'm not really entirely sure what happened, or some weird thing. But the trade, you'll see when this candle closes, the trade triggers really quickly, and it worked for 11 ticks. Let me show you. The low here is 79.25. So my entry is at 79, and the low here is 75.50. So it worked for more than 11 ticks. And if I zoom in here, you can see that where my profit target was hit and is supposed to take me out of the trade, there was more tail below it. So it went beyond. It didn't just touch it and then turn the other way. It went below it. But for some reason, I don't know what exactly happened, and we'll watch it right now on the live recording of the trade. But for some reason, my evaluation didn't get closed out. I was still in, I don't know how many contracts, still in the trade, and it was reversing. And I could just tell, I could just see that the trade wasn't going to work. And I don't know what happened with my auto stop on the runner. I think something moved the auto stop once the 11 ticks was hit. So I think the auto stop actually kicked in and moved to -3 like it was set for. So I think something got taken out at -3. I'm not sure what, but then something was left over. My theory is that and then the ATM disappeared at that point. So I didn't have a stop loss anymore. I didn't have a profit target on the chart anymore at that point. And so now I could see that my evaluation account P&L was still fluctuating, but I had no ATM any longer. So my theory, and maybe I'll be able to tell when I watch this video back right now, my theory is that the sim got filled for the 3 contracts, and the evaluation did not get filled there. Then it moved my stop on the runner to -3. Price reversed. I think it took out my runner at -3 and left 3 contracts open. And then I had to manually close using the flatten button. I had to manually close what was left, which I think was 3 contracts. And therefore, I actually lost, I think it's like $230 or something. We'll see when I play the live recording session. So I actually ended up getting a loss on this trade. Now I'm counting it as a win because, as you can see, it clearly worked for 11 ticks, and it should have been a green trade regardless. So if it had filled properly, it would have been green and I would have moved on to the next account. Unfortunately, it finished red, and let's show that now, and then I'll continue from there. All right, so here we go. So now you can see we're above the EMA, and I had the mentality, okay, if it gives me an entry, I'm just going to take it, regardless of the fact it's above the EMA and it's against my rules. It's a trade I would not take according to my rules, but there you go. I dropped the order in, and let's see what happens here. Yeah, it looks like some... And it's interesting. You can see on the positions that my my P&L is moving on my evaluation. I'm actually in the green right now, but only the sim orders were left, and now I'm still in the trade, and it looks like 2 contracts were left, still in the trade. And so you're going to see that I flatten. If you're looking at my positions tab there on the left corner, you'll see that I manually just closed it with the flatten button. So I lost $237 on that trade, even though the trade actually worked. So that's why I actually call it a 3-0 day. The trade worked. Unfortunately, something happened with the trade copier. I actually like to watch that one more time. Let's do it one more time. Okay. So here we are above the EMA. I think there's actually one more bar. Okay, I just fast forwarded. So here we are. Here's the signal bar that's starting to form above the EMA. And we can get entered into this trade immediately, and I can see that it didn't even look like the orders showed up for the evaluation account. Like I shouldn't have even got filled in the evaluation account, but I can see in the position tab that it's working. But there's no orders on the evaluation account still working there. And now the sim, it got taken out for the -3 ticks. So now the ATM is gone. So I think what happened was I did get an error about having too many contracts, and it's not showing up on the screen. It's I guess hidden under my stuff, my stats there and stuff. It's under that probably. And then I flatten. So I think that's exactly what happened. Was the error came up. It said, hey, you can't do that. You can't trade 8 contracts. You can only trade 4. Somehow I hit OK, not really realizing what the error was because everything happened so fast. And then somehow I still got entered into the trade. I'm going to have to watch that a few more times, another time, not on this video to see, but I got entered on at least 2 contracts for sure on my evaluation. And then that's what I had to manually close ultimately. Maybe there was another contract in there at some point that got taken out somehow. I'm unsure. It's very confusing, But again, according to the stats, I mean, I'm not calling it a loser because it won. It should have won. If I probably had the contracts properly set up for the max contracts of the account and only got a 4 trade order in instead of an 8 contract order in, it probably would have worked perfectly. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't have got the scalp on my 3 accounts, and then I would have got break even -3 on the runner, and it would have been a profitable trade. So I'm calling it a win, regardless of the fact that that gave me a negative P&L on the account there. So let me pause here, and then we'll talk about the next trade. All right, so back to the original chart is where I took my 3rd trade of the day. And the loss that I had just taken was right around 720. It was, basically this. This was the pullback. You can see there was plenty of room above the EMA on this particular chart, but this was not an entry on this chart. So it was not long after, that trade happened. Here we are, it was 7:21 in the morning when I was in that trade, and then I entered this trade at 7:29. So we're talking about 8 minutes later. Back to the original chart. I felt really confident about this chart because it was just, it hadn't lost. And so on this chart, or on this trade, I stayed with the same account because now I just lost $230, as I just showed you. And, the concept is I'm willing to blow up the account on any given trade. But I want it to play out according to my ATM strategy. I wasn't going to just let this trade get away from me, because as you can see, it surely with 4 contracts would have got blown up here if I didn't manually exit it. And it would make me miss this trade, which I went on. So the fact that it got messed up, I just got out and said, okay, I'll take that small loss and move on. So got this set up here. And what I liked about this is we shot through the EMA really strong. It looked like one leg, and I was expecting a second leg up. Essentially, in my mind, I was looking at it like, okay, here's the first leg, and here's my expectation for a second leg. And so I kept the runner strategy. What I did in that 7 minutes between trades was, because I wasn't sure what exactly happened and I didn't want to stop and look at the recording, I went back into the settings and changed it to be on the runner break even +1, because I didn't know if that messed something up, if I had messed up that setting and somehow it messed up my trade. In real time, it just wasn't clear to me what happened, and it's still not entirely clear to me even after having watched the video twice. So I changed the runner back to break even +1 to make sure that wasn't the problem. Got the setup, had a strong belief that we would make a second leg up. I was thinking we would at the very least retest the previous day close again is what I was thinking. If not just a full on reversal, which would have been like a failed breakout of the range and then just move back to the top of the range. So in any case, I was thinking, I like the long, I bounced off the EMA. We had shot through it. This was a first test of actually touching it. So I felt confident in the trade here. And I actually felt like if it doesn't back up and take me out at break even +1, I have a good chance at a runner here. And I got a runner, which was great. I got a 21-point runner. As you can see here, my entry was at 92.75 and 93 for my scalps. And my runner, my entry was at 92.75, and this thing ran to 13.75. So that was a 21-point runner. And if my math is good, I believe it is. And what I do, how I have my runner set right now is it just trails automatically each candle as it closes. And so you can see that once once the first candle ticked under a closed bar, that's where I was taken out of the trade. And really, that was the most I could have gotten on this runner, as you can see, unless I had had some kind of limit order take profit up here. Otherwise, I got the most I could have got out of it with the strategy I'm trading the runner with. So let me show that from the live recording right now, and then we'll wrap up the video after that. All right, so here we go. So, again, this was also with the idea that I'm not using all of my rules. You see I had an order ready there. I wanted to wait until it got further into the number of ticks of the bar. I didn't want to do it too early on this bar. And I'm normally I wouldn't take this trade because there's so many bars stacked up side by side that it would make me nervous that we're just in a tight range and it's going to do a failed breakout up and then, stop you out below. But in this case, I had enough pieces together to think that we were going to look for that second leg up off the EMA, like I talked about already. And I also had in my mind that the concept of the day was to take every entry that I can take. So I left this order ready here, and I especially liked that it triggered right at the end of that bar. So as you can see here, it triggers right before the bar closes. So now I'm in the trade. I've already got the scalp, and then just waiting. Or actually, I was still here. It looks like I'm still in the runner. That's all. I'm in the runner here. I've already got my scalp. And now my stop just moved because it's gone the extra tick. So my stop automatically moved. Now you'll see me, I'm going to start moving my profit target up higher because I didn't want to get it hit prematurely. And you saw that here, you just saw that my stop loss moves automatically. Actually, I moved the first one. I wanted to lock this in here because I had that loss. And then you'll see that the stop will start moving automatically on the candle closes. And I moved the profit target even higher just so that I can get the max possible by trailing each candle. So you'll see that my stop moves up on the close of that candle. And then here we go. And I get taken out. And everything worked perfect there on the trade copier. I had the right setting now so that it wasn't trying to get me into 8 contracts. I'd made it so the ratio was just 1-to-1. So my ATM was for 4 contracts, and I did that properly on the copier this time. So I got in for the correct amount of contracts, no errors, and everything worked as expected and as I hoped. So again, there you go, 21-point runner on that. And then, the rest of the day, there were entry after entry after entry, but they all didn't look good to me. And so getting back to what I started with talking about, wow, this is a long video. Starting with what I talked about at the beginning of the video is I'm having a really hard time with the going with the concept of stepping off the cliff with my parachute and just trusting that the setups are going to keep working until they just don't work anymore, or until I run into one that's not going to work anymore. And from this point, actually, let me see. From the point of that trade, that last trade, I could have taken 1, 2, 3, 4. I could have taken 5 more trades in a row without applying any rules to them and just taking the entries every time they come. I would have got 5 additional winners after that for the scalps, and one of those would have worked for another runner of 12 points. And I only have 1, 2, 3, 4 other evaluations right now. So if I had just followed what I'm proposing to myself as a trade plan, to just, when you have a great chart, just take every entry regardless of the rules, and you should get wins on virtually all of them, but you spread it across each account. So you're trading one account at a time, and you're just cycling through accounts and hoping to pick up one win a day on each account before a loss comes. I would have got one win on all my accounts on max contracts, and one of those wins would have given me a 12-point runner. So it's interesting stuff. I'm going to continue to work on these concepts, evolve. Hopefully over time, I'll be able to learn to trust it and go with it. And, when you're thinking about it, when you're seeing a chart that's getting win after win after win after win for your profit target, and you only have 5 accounts, you're just saying, can it work 5 more times, right? Maybe you'll get a loss, but then will it work X amount of times after the loss to finish out your accounts for the day? That's what I have in mind. That's what I want to test. That's what I want to try. And this whole paradigm is going to be easier for me to work through once I can hopefully get this PA account to pay me. So once I lock that in, get $2,000 out of that account in my account, in my bank account, in my pocket, then that's going to free my mind and free me up to say, okay, I've now taken the $1,500 plus a little right now that I'm into Apex for. It reimbursed me. And now I'm not going to have, if this doesn't work out for me, I'm not going to have that $1,500 debt plus, say another $1,500 or whatever it might add up to be if I don't get the payout. So that's my plan now. Now I didn't take any more trades after this for the rest of the day. And like I said, I could have taken 5 more trades easily without any losses. And I only had 4 more accounts. So I could have had all my accounts green today with max profit from max contracts, and been that much closer on all of these accounts to passing them today to get more PAs. And you see, the market really did a nice recovery, got through the previous day's close, and even got back all the way back up to the day's open before it's now sold off a little bit again. So it's really recovered. I mean, it's amazing. It's a break-even day right now. That's amazing. From yesterday's close, we're right at yesterday's close. So to have been down the 140 points or whatever it was, the market's really recovered. I gotta say, I'm enjoying trading NQ. I just think there's a lot more wiggle room. I think there's just more margin. So if you're going for a reasonable size scalp, it's not hard to get your scalp even on bad trades. And that's the thing that I'm learning in this process. And this is only my, I think, 3rd week trading NQ this way with the BS system. So I'm realizing that to get a reasonable size small scalp on the NQ, you can enter a bad trade and get it most of the time, a lot of the time. So that's where I'm at. That's where we're going. And this is a long video, so I'm going to cut it off here real quick. Once again, a 3-0 day, even though my second loss gave me some red numbers. Technically, the trade should have worked. So I think that was user error on the copy management, and the fact that the copier tried to make me enter on 8 trades instead of 4, I think caused me that loss on that one is pretty much what I'm thinking, like I said before. So 71% discount continues. 1-day pass will be over at this session close today. I didn't take advantage of it, unfortunately. But this is all about testing my BS system and testing my Apex strategy system for how I'm managing accounts. Thanks to Apex Trader for giving me a lot of good ideas, and I'm looking forward to learning to kind of give up some of the rules I put in place. I think I'll keep some rules. There are some rules that are worth keeping because it will probably keep me from getting some losses. But I think a lot of rules I can throw out the window and just go with it when I have a chart that's working, and just cycle through accounts, get 1 win a day. And all I need is 1 win a day to fulfill the 7 days to pass any evaluation. And all I need is 1 win a day for the 10 days to get to payouts. So mathematically speaking, I think this will now give me an umbrella of strategy as far as apex management as well as trade management to help ensure that I get more payouts more often, more past evaluations more often, and just keep those wheels turning on these accounts and keep getting payouts. That's my hope. It's my goal. It's my it's an evolving journey. It's where I'm at right now. It's the ideas that I'm having right now of how I want to try to accomplish this. And I'm hopeful, but I also know that this whole thing can fall apart at any moment. Just like my NLTS strategy on ES, I thought I had really figured something out. It worked great for a couple months, and then boom, 3rd month comes and I just got wiped out. So I know that's entirely possible with this. Going to take each day 1 day at a time, and going to slowly evolve, and hopefully it leads to the direction I want to get to. Because how great would it be to get to the point of having 20 PA accounts, and for every 20 PA accounts you have, even if you only get 5 to pay out, or if you get 10 to pay out, it doesn't, whatever you get to pay out, that's going to be profitable. That's going to be a profitable experience for those every time you get those payouts. And it's going to let me build. And then hopefully I can keep evolving the strategy and keep evolving the way I manage things. And, who knows what the limits are, but we're going to hopefully find out that the limits are really high up there, and we're going to keep reaching for them. So that's it for me for today. That was a lot. If you're interested in where I go from here on this journey, like and subscribe, and I'll be back at it again tomorrow, hopefully with good results again. Thanks for watching.